So, as a child, I was told by my mother several very important lessons which have been instilled into me to this day. And one of the most important ones was that you can't hide anything from your mother, and a mother just knows, like they can peer into the very depths of your soul. So I've asked myself over the many years, is that really true? Does a mother just know what's going on with you and already knows those private things you try to desperately keep, well, private? Well, I have learned, at least with my mother, she is pretty sharp and has vibed with me throughout my entire life. She even knew I was bisexual even before I said anything, and patiently waited for me to come out to her on my own. Which again, man, that was like a crying mess when that happened. When I told her I was bi, she just responded, "Oh, thank God you finally said it," which pretty much threw the whole "I knew that already" duh at me, leaving me a sobbing, confused, bewildered mess of like, wait, what the frick? So, why am I bringing this up? Because I never outright told my mother I was a furry, and I always wondered if she knows. But again, she hasn't said anything to me yet, possibly respecting my privacy and independence and what I love doing in my life. But now, I will preface that I am not overtly subtle with being a furry even around my family. It's not like I'm waiting till the dead of night to sneak into my mother's house when I visit, running into my room and hiding any furry stuff under the bed or the deepest, darkest depths of the closet. So, I want to break down to all of you my many tales and scenarios of me being a furry around my mother and see if you believe she knows if I'm a furry or not. So let's start with one of the bigger ones, and that is my active participation in charity work. Now, you're all probably thinking, Coda, what does charity work have to do with my mother getting a hint that I am a furry? Well, from the moment I got my first fursuit, I ended up joining a couple of furry charity groups who would volunteer to go out to various charity events and perform in fursuit. This would range from working with some professional mascots attending the event to us just doing our event ourselves, participating in warm-up exercises for the upcoming run, or entertaining the kids and their families by goofing around and cheering them on. And I love doing these charity events in fursuit, for it brought a lot of joy and support for many people. Plus, it is not only fun, but a different type of experience fursuiting than you would have at a furry meet or con. So, I would attend a lot of these charity events and tell my mother all about them. I would go into detail of me getting into my mascot costume and having a blast helping out and entertaining everyone. I would sometimes even show her some of the pics of me in my quote-unquote mascot outfit at these events. She would always tell me how proud she was that I was trying to help others out, and the event looked a lot of fun. She even thought I was cool that I was performing in a mascot costume, which, to a furry, you would know right away that it was actually a fursuit and not some typical mascot outfit. Like, I'm going to be real with y'all. Again, the furry fandom makes the best fursuit costumes out there, period. Way better than most mascots you see at a professional sporting event. Though, of course, there are some exceptions. But yeah, she never once questioned me suiting for charity at all, at least not to my face. Now, I love traveling, and it's something I do every chance I get. And my passion for traveling has lent itself to me attending various furry conventions from all over. Now, my mother knows and is aware that traveling is something I do and been doing the minute I was able to go on my own. However, there have been different patterns to certain areas I've been visiting and during the same time of the month each year. This would of course prompt her to ask, where am I going and what for? Which I would clearly state that I'm hanging out with some friends and hitting the local events in the area, which of course isn't wrong. I have even at times said I was hitting a convention, but I didn't really specify which type of convention it is exactly. My mother would then ask where I'm staying at times, and then want to know the place and the number, just in case. And of course, honestly, that's just because she cares and wants to know that I'm safe. And this has not really changed no matter how old I've gotten, so I don't see this changing anytime soon. But I wouldn't take much for her to just Google online where I'm staying and what is going on in the local area. I'm not saying that she would, but she could without telling me, and she is computer literate, so... Well, now speaking of traveling, another big tell I have been doing pretty much every time I travel to visit my mother, and that is bringing additional luggage. And by additional luggage, of course, I mean my Pelican case containing my fursuit. So I would literally rock up to my mother's doorstep carrying my 2 large pieces of luggage, one normal looking luggage bag, and the other this Pelican case, which is covered in furry stickers. Like, these stickers are everywhere, and it's hard not to notice the adorable beans donning the case. Now, of course she would ask, why do you have so much luggage with you? And I usually came up with some response like, in case I need additional luggage space? Or some like weird answer. But she would really never ask any further questions or for me to actually open it up. Plus, I also must note if my furry friends want to go hang out and suit somewhere, she would see me take my case with me when I'm leaving to hang out with them. Which, I mean, let's be honest. If I had a kid and they were dragging a Pelican case full of stickers back and forth to hangouts, it's kind of sus, and I probably would have some questions to ask them. Now, there are some smaller things I do and may have done over my mother's place that could give her some inclination I could be into furry. And one of those is that I'm a pretty loud doggo. Like, my voice projects, and that is putting it mildly. I blame it on all my singing and my natural operatic voice. Damn you, jeans. But seriously, if someone would call me while I'm at her house, I would normally go up to another room or floor to talk and try to keep the conversation private and not spat out some like furry lingo next to her. Okay, I could picture this now. I'm on the phone and suddenly I start a wooing or letting out an arp or something, and my mother would be like, did I just hear things? Did he just bark? But anyway, several times, even though I go into another room or floor of the house, she could still hear me. No joke, I've actually woken her up from a dead sleep when I'm in another part of the house talking on the phone. And I swear, I try so hard to be quiet, but my voice just seems to travel. So, it's very possible that my mother may have heard me on the phone talking about fursuits and cons and furry terms, but really never brought it up. Speaking of furry terms and things we say and do, my partner has been visiting my mother's place a couple times already, and I literally call him by his furry name instead of his given name.
What's your name?
So when I told my mother that wasn't his real name, she was like, well, then why are you calling him that? And I would be like, oh, because his real name's so generic and I like calling him by his nickname. I called him by his furry name so much that, no joke, my whole family addresses him by his furry name now. But I will note to you that his furry name can be a real person's name as well, so it's not like some elaborate furry name like Draconis the Elder Dragon or Shadow Floof or True Claw Meow Meow Chippy Choppa. And this brings us to the final thing, and that is I work both as a full-time content creator and for a furry-run company. With that being said, naturally parents want to know how are you doing in life, how your financial situation's been going, the fun stuff. So I have strategically come up with ways to talk about my work and what I've been producing without overtly saying what it's for. It's kind of like being honest and explaining everything, but without giving everything away. Somehow, I've gotten super good at this when these conversations come up. And I have, on rare occasions, shown my mother some of the work that we've been producing and some of the more general content. Also, she does know that I work in and around the LGBTQIA2+ communities. So from these briefer conversations, furry could come up easily, but again, it never was, so I guess the jury's still out. To this day, I never heard my mother outwardly address me about furry, if I am a furry, or if I'm part of the furry community. And with all these examples, you would think something would raise an eyebrow, but maybe she doesn't know. Or maybe she does and she just respects my independence and privacy as shown in the past, waiting for me to bring it up to her myself. Honestly, it is really hard to tell, and as I said at the beginning of this video, mothers could literally know. So, after hearing all these tales and scenarios, do you think my mother knows that I'm a furry or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you have some of your own stories to tell about your family or friends on your path as a furry, I would love to hear them in the comments as well. And As always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to support this orange doggo. Thanks for watching and stay awesome.